What better a way to show a prospective trooper what it was like to be a member of Troop D at New York Military Academy than to have the alumni show you how it was. This tape, produced by Troop D alumni dating back to 1912, with home video, film and photographs, much of it taken by proud parents, will attempt to give you the feel of what it was like to be part of this distinguished mounted cavalry unit dating back to the turn of the century. A day in the life of a trooper, to put it simply, was anything but dull. Besides participating in normal everyday academy activities such as drill instruction, marching, and academics, troopers, unlike members of the infantry, had the duty of caring not only for themselves, but for their animal, a horse. The same horse which year after year would become the trooper's partner at NEMA, carrying that trooper to parades, horse shows, steeplechases, and mounted drills. There were always some infantry cadets throughout the history of Troop D who would joke that the troop was an elitist group, spoiled, unwilling to get down and walk. However, this is simply not true. Troop D members never thought of themselves as being elite, except for the fact that being a trooper meant a special pride in your abilities as an equestrian, your ability to go that extra mile when infantry members were resting. Troop D members' lives at NEMA were so filled with activities that the years flew quickly by, almost in the blink of an eye. That is why, as Troop D alumni, we would like to tell you our story. It is the hope that you and your parents, if you decide you have an interest in horsemanship and the will to excel beyond what you now think you're capable of, will decide that joining the ranks of Troop D would be in your best interests. But first, a little troop history. The Troop D Cavalry Unit was formed at NEMA in 1911, when a former alumni, Henry DeRubio, class of 1894, formally put together the Horse Company. New York Military Academy, dating back to 1889, was for all intents purposes an all-cavalry school in the beginning. There were little, if any, automobiles. Troop D enjoyed many years at the Academy and included award-winning horse show teams and a polo team. The troop was deactivated in 1958, and the stables were closed, only to be brought back 6 years later. In the early 1960s, an alumni from the class of 1914 returned to the stables only to find it locked. The old grad, Ernie Wolfell, was so disappointed that he approached Superintendent Philip B. Toon, giving him a check for $1,000. Wolfell wrote his check as a challenge to other alumni to help reinstate Troop D. With the help of the superintendent and the hiring of cavalryman Colonel Russell Blair, Troop D sprung back to life quickly and included a summer cavalry camp for younger riders. The summer cavalry camp enjoyed many of the same activities as full-time troopers at NEMA: parades, horse shows, marches to the Black Rock Forest, and jumping shows. The cavalry camp was a natural feeding ground for full-time troopers. Many cavalry campers joined the Corps of Cadets at New York Military Academy and participated in Troop D throughout the years. Throughout the 1980s and 90s, troop enrollment, as well as enrollment in the infantry units at New York Military Academy, began to fall. The mood towards the military during the post-Vietnam era was one of the factors leading towards the decline of Troop D. In January of 1999, a group of Troop D alumni gathered at NEMA aimed at reactivating this renowned cavalry unit. Troopers from 1928 to 1996 were heard from, and a plan began to take shape to reopen the Troop D stables and bring a new generation of proud troopers back into the ranks of the Corps of Cadets well into the year 2000 and beyond. It must be pointed out again that while troopers were always expected to participate in all Academy functions, just as the infantry units, the members of Troop D always had to excel in dual roles, as an infantry cadet and as an equestrian. Troop D members always participated in a wide range of campus sports and club activities while attending the Academy. While attending to daily life at NEMA, such as formations, military drills, the academics, sports and clubs, members of Troop D always prided themselves in pushing themselves that extra mile. Almost every day of the week after class, troopers arrived at the Troop D stables to hone their skills at horse riding, jumping, and in the care of their horses. Special trips to parades, such as in neighboring towns, in New York City, and attending riding events at Madison Square Garden had to be planned and painstakingly mapped out. Horse-mounted drills and jumping shows at the academy had to be skillfully planned, and troopers were expected to train hard, help in setting up the jumping courses, and making sure that the events were a success. Members of Troop D, by nature, had to work a little harder, sit a little taller in the saddle, and have enormous pride in themselves, their troop, and in the academy. It was not always easy, but troopers always have had those special qualities that when the academy called them into action, they gave it their very best. Just as members of the band learned throughout the years, especially as they moved on to be a band member at a college or university, that they have extra special duties to perform, so it was with troopers. Just being a member of Troop D meant that on some weekends, when other cadets were going home for Thanksgiving or other holidays, the troop was being called upon to represent NEMA at a parade. The academy would usually give troopers a weekend pass the following week to make up for the lost chance to be with family and friends. But akin to band members, troopers quickly learned that this was the small price to pay for being a proud member of Troop D. A chance to represent themselves, their unit, to show off the horse riding skills they learned while at NEMA, and ultimately, to represent the academy in all its pageantry, as only a mounted cavalry unit could. Parents could not have been more delighted at how their son or daughter matured during their years in Troop D. Troop D has been at NEMA since its inception. The parades, the horse shows, have always drawn attention to the academy and accolades from the press. Having been a member of Troop D meant that you had the skills after graduation to face the world, more so than the infantry cadets. You learned how to sacrifice, how to push to be the best, look the best, ride the best. Yes, of course, at times this made other cadets a bit jealous, but many of them never realized just how much extra work was required of troopers. To prove that point, back in 1915, during the Winter Field Day competitions, the troop challenged the infantry companies and dismounted from their horses to compete head-on in sporting events. Leave it to the troopers, they won 37 out of a possible 45 points in the events and quieted the critics. In 1916, when upstate New York was hit by a devastating snowfall, making motorized travel impossible, it was members of Troop D who mounted up and made the perilous journey on horseback down to the ferry on the Hudson River to bring back supplies and help clear roadways. In 1923, the Troop D stables caught fire and burned to the ground. During the fire, as horses began to panic, it was the troopers who rushed down to their stables and saved all the horses, leading them from the smoke and flames. The stables were rebuilt within a year. As you can see, being a member of Troop D will at times call upon you to push yourself to greater heights. The reward to you, your parents, and to your future as you leave NEMA for the corporate world or in raising your own family can hardly be measured. You will carry away something extra from NEMA besides your pride in your high school accomplishments. As it has always been with Troop D, the cost to parents per year is a bit more. Money that any former trooper or current trooper can tell you is money very well spent and will make your parents very proud. As Troop D alumni, we hope that you will join our ranks of proud troopers at NEMA. Just as the troop was brought back to life from a short rest in the early 1960s, and more recently as we passed into the year 2000, troopers have always shown the academy that they are a very special breed of cadets who were and are willing to shoot for the stars and go that extra mile. A trait we all learn to carry into our business and personal lives years after graduation. The alumni of Troop D welcome you and hope that you firmly believe in yourself, that you have the right stuff to excel in horsemanship and in the academic and sports programs that NEMA has to offer you. Parents, the cost is a bit more per year, but the experiences your child will have as a trooper, that extra edge, that will become part of their being will make you proud for decades to come. We would like to welcome you to Troop D, and we, Troop D alumni, will be here through the NEMA staff and the Troop D Alumni Advisory Board to help your child have the most wonderful experiences any human being can have on this earth. As it was said by troopers back in the early 1900s, why don't you join the cavalry? Be a member of Troop D.